24. Extreme climatic conditions will be observed in certain regions of the world. 25. Some natural disasters shall take place in certain regions of the world. 23. Still, extreme climatic conditions shall be observed across areas on the globe. They shall be harsh in nature, both very hot summers and extremely cold winters. And finally, 31. Natural disasters shall occur in many regions of the world, leading to the loss of lives and the destruction of property.
United States now, ahead of the long holiday and festive season, a historic and brutal winter storm is raging in the country, leaving about 240 million Americans under severe weather warnings. Thousands of flights have been cancelled and major highways have been closed, while nearly 250,000 homes and businesses around the United States are experiencing power outages, road ice and whiteout conditions, led to the closure of some of the nation's busiest transport routes. Buffalo was the worst affected, with a driving ban imposed due to record-breaking snowfall. At least 17 people have died from weather-related accidents.
Also, the loss of 2 lives in Buffalo, storm-related, because people were not able to get to medical attention, which is, again, a crisis situation that unfolds before your eyes when you realize that life-saving ambulances and emergency medical personnel cannot get to people during a blizzard situation.
The weather forecasters are warning that the storm, which is named Elliott, could rapidly strengthen into what is known as a bomb cyclone. This basically means that the storm is intensifying quickly and can result in more severe impacts. The harsh climate is not only disrupting travel plans, but it further risks potential power outages and could impact business continuity and also supply chains. Many cities in the country are experiencing one of the coldest Christmas days on record. Utility crews were racing on Saturday to restore power to tens of thousands of customers across New York.
This is the first big shutdown we've had on power since the ice storm that I can recall.
The National Weather Service has warned that wind chills could plunge to 0 degrees in Portland, Oregon, and could potentially plummet to 25 degrees below zero.
Fine with it because
Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Nia Wong.
And I'm Matthew Smith. Now, Western Washington has not seen an ice event like this one in more than a decade. The ice making the roads a virtual skating rink. It also brought down power lines. More than 13,000 people are in the dark right now. And of course, they're also in the cold. Now, Puget Sound Energy makes up 9,000 of our current outages that we're tracking. Another 3,000 are from Snohomish PUD up to our north.
And thankfully, power is back in the San Juans after nearly everyone there went without light or heat last night. We have team coverage tonight from 4 counties that are digging out of the ice. Lisa Villegas tracking the forecast to warm up.
As US 2 has been shut down, leaving people in the cold and the dark. Yes, many without power there.
And we have Alejandro Guzman at one of the most hectic impacted places today, SeaTac. But first, we head to Frankie Thompson, where a car has flipped over.
And Edmonds is full of steep hills. That's why the city closed off this street to downtown to prevent drivers from sliding or crashing into something, because that's exactly what happened to one driver just a few blocks away from here. Flat on its side.
I saw her just going down. I'm like, oh, this is bad. And I'm like, oh my God, she just flipped her car.
Brent Herman says his wife was on her way to work when her car slid down the icy streets of their neighborhood in Edmonds.
She come down the hill, her car just would not stop until it came to a stop on its side. It went up a rockery right over there and just flipped over.
Herman says his wife is shaken, but she's not hurt after first responders carefully rescued her from the flipped car.
The fire department got here to bust out the windows to get her out and stabilize the car.
With 2 snowfalls and freezing rain that came down across Snohomish County, the streets are frozen over. Herman and his neighbors say a snowplow has not come through this area once.
Even the ones they're trying to take care of right now are still pretty impassable, I think. The ice is the worst I've ever seen.
Removing that snow and ice has kept Snohomish County Public Works busy since Saturday. Director Kelly Snyder says the conditions are becoming more dangerous each day. While out clearing the roads, 2 trees weighed down by ice from the freezing rain fell on top of a snowplow while the truck driver was inside. Snyder says thankfully the driver wasn't hurt, but it speaks to the risk crews endure to make sure the roads are safe for everyone. And their work isn't over. With rain and warmer temperatures in the forecast, Snyder says the quick thaw could turn into flooding this weekend. Snyder is encouraging people to stay home if they can, to give crews space to clear the roads effectively and safely. Herman says with a busted car, he and his wife might not be going anywhere anytime soon.
She was laughing and she's like, don't say it, don't say it. And I'm like, I told you so.
And officials are asking everyone to follow these road closure signs because that's for everyone's protection. They say this is what's going to help people stay off of those roads, prevent them from sliding, prevent them from crashing, because the conditions here are going to continue to be slippery for some time.
Let's switch things up now from the road to the skies. Planes are struggling to get off the ground today. More than 640 flights have already been canceled.
And Alaska just canceled all their flights out of SeaTac for the rest of the day. On top of that, they say they've lost thousands of people's checked baggage.
Yeah, Matthew, I can tell you that things are not getting any better here at SeaTac. I mean, just take a look around. This line for Alaska Airlines nearly seems endless. There is a lot of faces of disappointment, uncertainty, and unknowing because nobody really knows when they're going to be able to get those wheels up anytime soon. Like you guys mentioned just a couple minutes ago, Alaska telling everyone coming on over the overhead, telling everyone that their flights have been canceled for the rest of the day, asking everyone who lives in the greater Seattle area to simply go home. This is one of the biggest days for holiday travel, and if you take a look around, there's many who have been here for hours expecting to hit the skies for the holiday travel, but again, the latest breakdown according to FlightAware is 656 flights canceled, at least 224 delayed, and that's still ongoing. I mean, we can hear that there is an announcement going on overhead that is telling everyone to simply go home and return home. That is their recommendation at this hour because there is not any possibility of them getting rescheduled. On top of that, like you guys mentioned, thousands of bags have been lost or they have not been able to get on planes. They're now calling guests to see where they can actually send their bags to. They're working with UPS to get those packages back to their original owners because let me tell you, things are only getting more and more hectic here at SeaTac. Everyone is still trying to make it for the holiday travel. We heard from some folks who have been here since very early this morning. And again, they might not even make it out of SeaTac until the next 26th, 27th, past the holidays. But at least they say that they're going to be home for the New Year's. Everyone is trying to keep up the good spirits because that's what this is all about, trying to enjoy the holiday season. But again, right now, everyone is encouraged to just reassess their flight plans. We're going to stay on top of this and bring you the very latest. But for now, these are the latest conditions here at SeaTac.
A metaphorical train wreck at the airport. But wait, there's more. Hundreds of trees and limbs came down across Gold Bar overnight under the weight of freezing rain and snow, and of course high winds. Many power lines coming down with those high winds.
And the storm hitting just before the holidays, leaving many scrambling to clean up or change holiday plans.
There's been a lot of damage. WashShot just announcing that US 2 just reopened about an hour ago after trees fell across the highway there, so that is open. Meantime, the rain continues to fall steadily steadily and heavily at this hour. And if you take a look at the pavement, you can see it's still a sheet of ice out here. It's challenging to walk, let alone clean up after the mess the storm left behind. Trees and power lines in the Gold Bar area took a beating overnight as freezing rain and high winds whipped up chaos across the community.
I stayed up until 2 o'clock. Everything was fine, and looked out this morning at 8 o'clock, and I had some firewood.
The tree narrowly missed the bulk of this bus stop, but did shatter a back panel, leaving a pile of broken glass behind.
We have a lot of wind. They call it blow bar. And we're at the neck of the funnel here, and the wind just whips down the valley. And so we got a lot of tree damage.
Just under a mile away, Mark Mellett told us that a tree had also fallen on his property earlier in the week after round one of this week's storms rolled through.
Well, the wind was blowing and it blew 2 trees down, and one went across the top of my house.
It dented a fence before coming to rest on his home.
Right across the roof and the porch, right at the center of the house.
The tree has since been chopped up into firewood, but Mark worries about more trees on the property falling. Meantime, others were worried today about getting their power back before the holidays. At the height of the outages, a PSE spokesperson said there were more than 1,300 customers without power. One of the things that is also hindering power crews is the closure of US 2 between Gold Bar and Index due to downed trees. Icy road conditions are also making it challenging for crews to get to the roads that are open.
Yeah, it's kind of slick. I've fallen a couple times.
As residents and utility and power crews do their best to get around and clean up and make repairs, Malcolm says the downed trees won't go to waste. He says most folks in Gold Bar are, quote, wood rats that will find uses for the trees that fall due to the weather.
I don't know, maybe about 20% of the people have wood stoves. And if you can get it fast, it's yours.
There you go, the silver lining for all those trees down. And Washout wants to remind drivers that although US 2 has reopened, there are some utility crews out there setting a pole. So there may be a flagger out there, and that driving lanes might be reduced to 1 lane, so it could be slow going on US 2, even though they have reopened that road.
All right, this is being called a once-in-a-generation kind of storm. Joining us is Chief Meteorologist Lisa Villegas. And Lisa, tell us, is the worst of it over?
So, yes, and we are starting to see some improvement. So that's the good news here, Nia and Matt. Of course, good evening to you at home. Again, stay home if you can. The good news is we are watching the temperature starting to warm up, and we're starting to see a lot of that wintry precipitation transition back into rain. So a lot of melting is going to be taking place here for the next 24 hours. However, we still have that wintry mix across portions of our area. Definitely want to zoom in across parts of Whatcom County where you're seeing the pink. That's where we're definitely seeing more of that freezing rain on top of all the snow that we've had earlier in the week. So a lot going on. Again, staying indoors if you can, from Linden all the way to Glacier and over into Bellingham, finally starting to clear up. And as we expand down south along I-5, now into Snohomish County, in Arlington, Tulalip, Lake Stevens, stretching on to Everett and Monroe, that's where all of that wintry mix is now into transitioning back into rain. So we're going to see a lot of rain happening here for at least the next several days. And then zooming in across parts of King County and the lowlands, watching for that wintry mix to still holding on because temperatures are right around freezing. Over in Seattle, Mercer Island, watching for you, but overall, a lot of rain heading our way here in the next 24 hours. In fact, across the passes, that's where I'm mainly concerned. We do have this winter storm warning still in effect until 7 o'clock, but definitely watching the passes because those temperatures are very, very cold, and all the snow that we've had, well, now we're getting a layer of ice on top of that currently that will transition into snow in the next couple of days, and we are going to get ready for a couple atmospheric rivers. I'm going to walk you through that forecast and what we can expect through the holiday weekend coming up.
All right.
in Michigan City, Indiana, conditions are deteriorating rapidly. The wind is just cranking. Snow's going sideways.
Much of Michigan is under a blizzard of winter storm warning. Christmas Eve, as a large storm front sweeps through the Midwest towards and the Great Lakes region. The total amount of snowfall was varied by state, with most had fallen on the western shoreline of Lake Michigan and the northwest Lowell Peninsula. 3 to 7 inches of snow is expected in the Detroit metro area, with 5 to 8 inches expected farther north towards Interthurm. More than a foot of snowfall in the Great Rapid area and much of the western Michigan. Snowfall estimates for Colhop County range from 6 to 10 inches, but forecasters said wind gusts of up to 15 millihours or more are likely to set the stage for blizzards and could cause power outages. The bulk of the snow is expected to fall during the night, and the widespread wind effect of the lake will continue. Forecasters were predicting approximately 3 inches of snow and another 3 inches of snow.
I knew it was good.
The city of Buffalo is seeing one of the most extreme blizzards in its history, bringing dangerous winter weather to upstate New York amid the holiday weekend. The extreme winter storm that's plagued much of the country this week brought blizzard warnings and very heavy lake-effect snow to the Buffalo area, spawning deadly conditions amid the busy holiday travel period. The blizzard has left people stranded on the road with zero visibility and led to thousands of power outages in the area. The storm has already shattered the area's daily snowfall record, with 22.3 inches on Friday, the National Weather Service said. The old record for the date was 12.6 inches in 1976. In Buffalo, this storm will likely at least jump near the top of the list of worst blizzards in the city's history, if not even becoming the worst, AccuWeather meteorologist Jake Sajas said Friday. So far, 2 people have died in the storm, Erie County Executive Mark Polinkars told local media on Saturday. He said the people experienced emergency situations, but first responders could not get to them in time because of the conditions, per WIDB. I'm hoping that's only it, but as we get out into the daylight hours today, it is possible we will come across more individuals due to the severe situations of last night, Polinkars added. With a countywide driving ban in place, Polinkars urged residents to stay home and inside. He also offered suggestions on how to stay warm without power. At least 47,000 people are without power in the Buffalo and Niagara area. The Buffalo News reported. Buffalo Niagara International Airport had already seen 80 flight cancellations as of Saturday morning. The airport had zero visibility on Friday, per the NWS. Winds of about 70 miles per hour whipped through the area Friday and overnight, the NWS said. New York Governor Kathy Hochul deployed the National Guard to Erie County on Friday to assist residents with the storm. Blizzard conditions will make travel impossible for the Niagara area, the NWS said Saturday morning. There are numerous vehicles stranded on the roadways, the NWS said, and 911 operators have been flooded with calls, per the Buffalo News. Ambulances needed 3 hours to reach hospitals on Saturday, Polinkars of Erie County said. Sub-zero and single-digit temperatures froze the area, bringing widespread dangerous wind chills and brutal cold to Buffalo, the NWS said Friday night. The storm isn't over yet. The NWS said Saturday will be plenty windy for blizzard conditions through the day. Buffalo experienced a deadly historic storm in late November that shattered daily records and blanketed much of the surrounding areas, Axios reported at the time. A wintry bomb cyclone that's sweeping through the nation is now bringing whiteout blizzard conditions to Buffalo. Located on the eastern coast of Lake Erie, Buffalo is currently under a blizzard warning and is experiencing blinding snowfall and rising waters. Visibility had dropped to zero shortly after noon Friday. "All my clothing is just a sheet of ice," said Fox weather correspondent Max Gordon, as waves crashed around him from Lake Erie in the Buffalo suburb of Hamburg. Hamburg was evacuated due to rising waters threatening to flood the low-lying area. Waves reaching heights between 14 and 18 feet have been slamming the coastline. "Incredible, just the power of Mother Nature," Gordon said. Wind is also posing a challenge for residents around Buffalo. At Buffalo International Airport, a gust of wind was measured at 72 miles per hour. The Fox Forecast Center said winds could reach 80 to 85 miles per hour later Friday. Heavy lake-effect snow is also expected in the area through the weekend, with up to 4 feet predicted to fall in some parts of western New York by Christmas Day. Combined with the strong winds, however, the snow is creating whiteout conditions. These conditions have created dangerous driving conditions, leading to a travel ban being put in place for portions of the region. The National Weather Service in Buffalo filmed the snowy conditions to demonstrate the lack of visibility on the roads. Because of the hazardous weather conditions, the Buffalo Airport airfield closed on Friday afternoon and canceled all evening flights. On Christmas Eve, some drivers were stranded in the Buffalo area and first responders were using snowmobiles to get to motorists. As large swaths of the country faced record low temperatures and power outages on Saturday, western New York continued to endure the worst of a brutal storm that left residents trapped at home, motorists stranded, and emergency workers unable to reach many of the harder-hit areas. The storm, the worst to strike Buffalo in decades, battered the region overnight with winds exceeding 70 miles per hour, and by Saturday morning more than 6 feet of snow had buried houses, businesses, and cars. The region will not see blizzard conditions ease for another 12 to 18 hours, said John Hitchcock, a meteorologist at the National Weather Service's Buffalo office. The Tennessee Valley Authority announced that rolling power blackouts have now ended for the local power companies it generates power for. The TVA service area covers all of Tennessee and portions of several other states. Despite a wind chill of minus 24 degrees, 4 friends from Chicago's Mount Greenwood neighborhood walked to Soldier Field to watch the Chicago Bears play the Buffalo Bills. "My dad told me to stay home, that we're all crazy," said Emmett Berry. His friend Matthew King, 17, wore ski goggles and a snowsuit, while Tommy Frayne, 18, wore 4 layers and held a large bag of hand warmers. At least 54 flights were canceled as of Saturday morning, the airport said on Twitter. Travelers were preparing to spend Christmas Eve at the airport or nearby hotels, or finding alternate ways to reach their holiday destinations.
A brutal, unprecedented sage, and which is a storm surge along the eastern tip of Lake Erie. Just brutal conditions out here happening.